King's new subjects were tired of white. They were tired of tripping, of banging their shins, of misplacing their homes. So they started painting everything, ruining the king's spotless design. In response, the king outlawed all non-magical brushes and pledged to spend the next month painting shadows for his kingdom. For the first time in weeks, Monroe felt good. He felt even better when the wind pushed him close enough to reach the Swan. He was feeling so good, in fact, that he forgot all about his fear of heights. But when the Swan wriggled free and Monroe fell over the side, he remembered almost immediately. That might have been the end of Monroe if this were a shorter story, but it isn't, which is why Monroe's troubles were just beginning. Monroe scrambled out of the water and found himself in a massive city with no sign of the Swan or anyone else. Well, except someone's enormous pair of feet. These were attached to a giant who could have been a big help in catching the Swan, but unfortunately, here was the laziest giant who had ever lived, and it was his day off. Having celebrated in his usual way, he was now sleeping it off and quite unable to hear Monroe yelling. While he was looking for a way to wake the giant, Monroe noticed something even better: a floating ship. Monroe waved goodbye to the giant and set sail. But no matter how fast he went, the Swan was always just out of reach. And not for the first time that day, Monroe suspected he was being led somewhere. Then they flew into a cloud, and everything went black. Monroe sailed on in darkness following the Swan's voice, but he never saw a thing. Not the stars, not the Swan, and certainly not the tree he got stuck in. When the clouds lifted, the Swan was gone, leaving Monroe alone in the middle of an immense forest. Since there was nothing else to be done, he jumped. tired of creating perfect kingdoms only to attract less than perfect subjects, he decided he'd have to leave a legacy the old-fashioned way, with a family. So he began to build one, starting with a house. As Monroe stood there trying to think of something to say, the statue shuddered and the hatch slammed shut. And now there was no more need for talking. The king was awake.
Ah, it's you, the boy from my dream. What a strange dream it was. My life's work was being destroyed, and all I could do was watch.
Come, sit here by the fire.
It all began right there, in the house I grew up in. I heard a heavy knocking at the door, just like on the night I left. I opened the door, but there was nothing there, just white space. But when I got outside, disaster. Some miscreant had painted everything. My garden was ruined. And then my statue spoke and said, "Help me! Some little hooligan is running around splattering everything in the garden. I think he's headed for the..." Something got in my mouth. Oh dear. I saw my unfinished labyrinth, abandoned and forgotten, and then the credits appeared.
Your dreams have credits?
Oh yes, and subtitles. And then I saw my beautiful city strangled by those disgusting vines. I built it to stand 100 lifetimes, and instead it'll be buried in one, a monument for weeds. The dining hall was full of people, like the old days. It smelled like roasted goose. For a moment, I was happy. Then suddenly, I was alone again. The world had become cold and dark. I felt my own death rising up around me. Floated past chunks of the house I built, a scrap building. Scarcely 10 years later, and the whole thing was in ruins. My works were meant to last forever, but most of them will be gone before I am. I was at a funeral. My own, as it turned out. No one was there, except you. I saw my monument, my last hope of leaving something that would live on after me. And I began to walk towards it. And with each step I took, I got larger. I just kept growing and growing, like a teenager. With a gentle push, my monument crumbled and sank. I saw my life's work laid out in front of me. Soon it would crumble into dust or be painted over by someone who would come after me, the same way I painted over what was here before me. When the universe ended, I knew that everything I'd made was over.